It's 5 o'clock in Pirate Country, and it's time to get pumped up with the P-Man. Hit the door and hit the road. 94.3 The Game is going to get you home, and the P-Man's not holding back.
Yes! Yes! Pirates win! Pirates win!
Bring on the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Holy mackerel! Oh, my goodness!
The flagship station of the ECU Pirates.
All right, here we go. In about 48 hours from now, we're going to have a pretty good idea of what ECU's weekend's going to look like. The great Philip the Ref Pilkington producing the show today, and he'll be here Friday. I will be on assignment for NFHS with Jason Mills, the Conley coach. We're going to call the game and the action this weekend for the 1A series involving Northside. And they are playing Uwharrie Charter, the defending state champs, and that is in the best of 3 1A from Holly Springs. The South Central Falcons are going to be playing in the 3A series in Holly Springs, and that will be at 5 o'clock Friday. So about this time we'll be getting started there. And they are taking on Rowan, who's won 32 games out of the 34 they have played this year. So that is East Rowan is who they're playing, East Rowan. It's great to have you with us here. We're going to talk the regional. We're going to talk the NCAA tournament as a whole, the field as a whole with our friend Jonathan Wagner from On 3. He'll be with us. And Pilk, I understand that Wags is going to be here this weekend. Is that correct? He's going to be in the Hizzle this weekend. Is that accurate?
Yeah. So if you want to see Wags, you can go say hey to him. The unfortunate thing, he's going to be with former intern Casey Rainieri. So you get Wags, that's good, but you get Casey, so that's bad. So I love you, Casey. Yeah.
So Wags will be it's the classic. It's kind of like Sonny and Me. It's the classic golden retriever black cat with Casey and Wags.
Yeah. Because
intern Casey is a grump. He makes me look bright and sunny. That's how much of a grump intern Casey is. He's one of the grumpiest of the grumps. You think I'm a grump. Wait till you meet former intern Casey.
Yeah. I think Drew Steele would be the only person that would disagree with us because he was happy when he was at his job at operations, and they love him over there. Man, when he was here when you live with him, he's a grump.
Oh, is he? He was great at his job. He was a good intern for us, but he was great at his job over there. I think he likes things like that, though. I think he kind of likes the behind-the-scenes being busy.
Yeah,
he's that kind of guy. I think he's that kind of – but he's still a grump.
Oh, 100%.
But he's good. He would always come over. A quick story on intern Casey. Casey Rainier, is that his name? We're calling him out and blasting him. Rainieri. Which I didn't know till just now. He would come over and during the basketball games when they turned the lights off, or at least when they used to for the light show, they would have to turn off the lights at the table, the broadcast table and the table across the way where all of the game operations are. And Casey would always have the responsibility to do that. And I would always kind of wave to Casey. I'd have a headset on and Casey, occasionally you'd get the head nod, Pilk. More often than not, you got nothing. But I always tried to wave to if I saw him and we made contact, I always tried to wave to him.
I would say do not take that personal. Because when I lived with him, he would be at work and I would wave to him and he would just kind of like, he doesn't comprehend that you're waving at him. He's just like in his own world. He's just staring into the abyss. Yeah.
He's focused. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Wags will be in town. And if you see Wags, he'll be pumped up, I'm sure, and excited.
Yeah. Wags is much more chipper.
Jonathan Wagner, who now works for On 3 Sports and does a lot of their college baseball coverage, among other things, is now on or got his career started with Stephen Igo and Hoist the Colors. That's how he started everything. He worked for Igo. Did he start as an intern there? He did, didn't he? He started interning for Igo and was a big part of the coverage.
Yeah, I think he never got paid. He was always an intern.
Oh, he was always an intern. Okay.
Yeah, 247 will not grant. Yeah, well, no, 247 has not granted him a second writer because there was a time he wanted to hire Wags straight out of college and didn't happen.
Can I stick with the idea that Igo wants to hoard all the money? Can we?
Yeah, if you
can we
want
pump
to.
that. And
Sure,
put that
why
out
not?
there? Okay, that's what I'm going to do. Igo wants all the cash for himself. That's what I'm saying. Let's see. They released some info today that probably would be helpful. There's a big controversy about people reselling their tickets and this, that, and the other. And being able to have access to getting the tickets and that kind of thing. So they are expecting record crowds throughout the weekend, ECU is. All session tickets for the regional are sold out. That includes everything. So you have to go to the second-hand market, the secondary market. Where do I get second-hand from? Secondary market if you're going to get in. The ticket office will be open 2 hours prior to the first game each day. So that would be 3 o'clock Friday. I guess that's for anybody that's getting a paper ticket still. People still do that, Pilk? Are people still out there getting paper tickets? Is that what's happening?
I think there's some. I wish there was more. I miss the day of. I want to go to every MLB ballpark, and I'd like to have a ticket stub from every one. But you don't get ticket stubs anymore. It's all on your phone.
You do it on your phone. Yeah,
I like my boarding pass on my phone. I don't know about you, Patrick. I like that. I don't like keeping up with a boarding pass. But ticket stub, it's part of a souvenir. It's like a free souvenir. I mean, it's not free because you paid for the ticket, but like it's. I
think if I were taking a landmark trip, I would like to have the boarding pass.
Okay.
Like if I were going, like overseas or to Italy.
Well,
they still something.
Yeah, I'll let you know here in a couple weeks. But the last time I flew international, you still had to do an actual boarding pass for international flights. It was just domestic. Okay. But I'll get back to you in a couple weeks.
Where are you going? That's international.
I'm going to Cabo.
Well, I guess that's international.
Yeah.
The gates to the all right, so gates will open 1 hour prior to the games, prior to the first pitch scheduled time for all sessions. The stadium will be clearing out following the first game each day and then reopen 1 hour prior to the next scheduled game. Saturday and Sunday's games are subject to change. But it looks like we're going to have great weather for once this weekend. I say for once, I mean during a regional for once. Gates open to the Williams Jungle 1 hour prior to first pitch. Individuals with tickets to the Jungle will be able to enter Gate 1, Gate 9, or Gate 6. Folding camping chairs are permitted inside the area. No chairs are permitted in the area prior to the game's opening 1 hour, to the gates opening 1 hour before the pitch. So it sounds to me like you can't leave a chair there. I don't know, maybe you can. Well, here we go. All chairs should be removed following each day. Any chairs left in the Jungle following each day will be subject to disposal. See, I'm not really concerned about any of this. I'm telling this so people will know because there's a lot of misinformation. Imagine that misinformation with baseball fans. There's a lot of misinformation out there about, oh, you can do this, you can do that. And I'm here for the drama. I'm here for the online bitching and moaning that will go on inevitably when someone decided they weren't going to listen to the great P-Man disseminate this information to you. That you cannot leave your chairs overnight because they will get thrown away more than likely. So people will complain because their $70 Walmart chair will get tossed if they leave it out there.
Death, taxes, and people ranting on the ECU message boards.
This is more social media groups. I have no offense to our friend Igo, but I avoid the message boards like the plague. The only time I see something from a message board is when I search my name. No, is when people screenshot something and send it to me or send me a link and tell me I need to read this. And then I feel a little dumber for having done it. I'm really dumb already. So it's not good for me to feel a little dumber. But I feel really a little dumber every time I read something on there. Here's some other information. Parking in all the lots open 3 hours prior to the first session each day. No cars will be admitted into the lot prior. Apparently, general admission parking is $20 cash only. Now, there's something you would think they'd be able to do on the app. Saving parking spaces for other motorists is not permitted. Chairs, grills, tents, and coolers will not be permitted outside of an individual's vehicle. Items must fit and remain in the individual's parking spot. Chairs, grills, tents, and coolers are not permitted in empty parking spaces. Make sure you're taking up only one parking spot. If you're taking up more than one spot with your tailgate, you will be asked to move. All reserved parking lots are sold out for the Greenville Regional.
Remember to have cash. Key thing in there was cash, only. Have cash. They're doing this so that the athletic department doesn't have to claim taxes on it. They can keep some money so it doesn't go to Ukraine, because if they did it on the card, they would have to claim the taxes, and then Biden would just send it to Ukraine. So this is how the athletic department keeps it. This will get us an indoor practice facility. Pay your $20 cash.
Oh, we're getting one of those anyway, Bill. We're getting one of those anyway. We need money for NIL, but we're building buildings 20 years too late. That was an editorial comment, and that'll probably get me in some trouble, but that's okay.
Mine will probably get me in trouble too, but that's what we're here for.
Yeah, no, I think yours is pretty popular. Stick to sports. Stick to sports. Let's see here. So that's kind of the lay of the law there, or the lay of the land there, and the letter of the law, however you want to phrase it. That's what it's looking like. But I thought, usually when we get these kind of emails, I think, but I read this today, and I took a look at it, and I said, well, this is information we need to tell the folks today, because there's a lot of people out there that say, oh, it's fine if you do this and fine if you do that, or I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that because I've done it all year. And we're playing by a different set of rules right now. The other thing, I want to thank Paul and Graham from 99.9 The Fan. And Next Up, that's the show that they do now in the mornings up there from 9 to 10. And they had me on the show today. For a segment. I have reposted it, the audio. Did I put the audio on our social media? I think I did, and retweeted it and all that. Anyway, you can listen to that. It's really tremendous content, hashtag content, because I'm involved. I sound great, much better than I did a few weeks ago, but I sounded really good on their airwaves today. So we'll see. But I appreciate being on there. It was fun. We talked Pirate baseball. We talked about this year's team and the program and everything going into the regionals this week. It was a nice little guest hit on with those guys for a few minutes today. So that was nice to be on. All right, let's break. When we come back, we'll talk to Jonathan Wagner. I want to get into his thoughts on this regional. I think Wake is the betting favorite. Pirates are second in that race. And your money will get you something this weekend, a parking pass. So you better bring, or parking space more appropriately. So you better bring cash. Big thanks to the guys again at 99.9 The Fan in Raleigh for having me on. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, Jonathan Wagner on 3.
Ready to save thousands with a great rate? Get 0% financing at Greenville Toyota during the Great Rate Sales Event. Shop our massive inventory of new Toyotas, available as low as 0%. Hurry to Greenville Toyota today, where our volume saves you money.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Get low, get low, get low. 369, ooh, she fine. Hoping she can sing it to me one more time. Get low, get low, get low, get low.
Grab a Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild. When a place is as special as this, you don't want to change a thing. You simply want to enjoy it, just as it is. That was our inspiration behind Bow Coast West, our newest community in Beaufort, North Carolina. Embrace all that we love about this very special place and make it easy for families to enjoy all that this coastal lifestyle has to offer. Be inspired. Bow Coast West.
New Toyotas, 0 down and only $369 a month at Greenville Toyota during the Great Rate Sales Event. Buy with 0% or get Corollas, $369 a month with 0 down. This is not a lease, you own it. Plus, get our Greenville Advantage at Greenville Toyota.
Have you noticed he's in his own little happy hour? We're back to the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
This is the Happy Hour program.
Here's the P-Man.
Okay. Welcome back. Ezra Czar has announced, or it's been announced, that Ezra Czar is transferred to Utah. So Pilk will have more on this coming up in just a few minutes with a Sports Flash update and Pirate report. Right now we say hello to Jonathan Wagner from On3 Sports. He joins us here on 3.com, national writer and editor for them, and national news desk, covers baseball. He does everything. What's going on, Mr. Wagner? How are you?
I'm doing good. It's the best time of the year. Like you guys tweeted earlier today, the best time of the year is here. Postseason baseball, and nothing beats it. And I'm so excited for this weekend.
We're going to talk a little bit about the Greenville Regional, obviously. But just when you saw the field released overall on Monday, on Memorial Day, what was your first one or two, maybe just overall takeaways?
Yeah, I think firstly, when we saw the 16 hosts that were announced, I didn't expect to see ECU there. So when they were, it kind of, and then we saw Arizona as well, it looked like the committee kind of threw RPI out the window, and it came down to resumes. And I think that's the way it should be. So it was refreshing to see that. But then I do think as you look through the rest of the field, there was some inconsistency. I think College of Charleston won their regular season. I think they should have gotten in. Florida could go 0-2 this weekend, and they'd be below 500 for the season. So I don't think they should have gotten in. So I do think there was a little bit of inconsistency, but man, there's some fun regionals. And like I said, it's the best time of the year. So I'm excited, and ECU has a fun one too.
UNCW ends up as the second seed in Georgia. I'm kind of surprised Georgia ended up with the top 8 in the national seed, even though they surged near the end of the year. But UNC Wilmington, and I mean, they're a good team. Let's not get it twisted, but 2 seems a little ambitious to me.
Yeah, I think, when I was looking, and I will say it was kind of a weak 2 seed line this season. At least going into conference tournaments. I think some of those SEC teams kind of came back to take those 2 seeds again. But going in, it felt really weak. There were a bunch of teams that should be 3 seeds. And when I would do mine, I would have about 5 or 6 spots to fill in. And yeah, UNC Wilmington was at times in that discussion, but they were usually ended up on the 3 seed line for me. So I was a little surprised too, but I do think that's a good team. I think that's a team that's capable of winning. And I mean, good for them. I think that's a program that I would like to see, get through.
It's fun when they're good. And they've been good for a long time, and getting the 2 seed is really pretty exciting. Were you surprised? You said you were a little surprised ECU was the host. Who did you think should have hosted or should have been considered to host that did not?
Yeah, I think, going into it, there was a group of teams. I think ECU, Mississippi State, Duke, Indiana State, Dallas Baptist even, I think, was in that discussion. But, Mississippi State, I think the thing everyone keeps going to with them is they had 16 quad 1 wins, but they also had 14 quad 1 losses. So if you look at it, most of their schedules in quad 1 because they play in the SEC. So that matters too. But the most surprised to me was Duke. And I think, they did enough during the regular season to get there, and then they swept the ACC tournament and won the ACC tournament title. I thought there is no way that this Duke team is not hosting. And whether it was against ECU, whether it was against another team, Oregon State, I think, is a questionable host. So I think there's a lot of controversy and there's a lot of talk about it. But Duke, Mississippi State, and to me, Dallas Baptist would be that next team in the discussions. Yeah, there were certainly some arguments, and I'm not quite sure, how it happened, but I'm glad it did.
Let me ask you this: do you think? Because Duke closed strong. They won the ACC tournament, walloped Florida State in the championship game. I don't think there's any doubt that they have pitching talent. They actually have some hitting talent too. So this is a team that could get to Omaha, quite obviously. They've been a little inconsistent, but they've had some injuries. They've got, as I said, depth throughout the whole pitching staff. It's just not front line pitching. In fact, their bullpen pitching might actually be a little stronger than their frontline guys. But Wags, what do you think of the theories that's floating around out there that their ballpark was a hindrance to them? If I'm not mistaken, didn't they host last year in that ballpark for the regional? So, I mean, is that, and if I'm mistaken, please correct me, but it doesn't seem like that was the hindrance. But, I mean, I could be totally wrong on that.
Yeah, I think when they have hosted, and a lot of times, before this year, they played a lot of their, home games at the Durham Bulls Athletic Park. So I think this season, it feels like they went more to we want to play on our home ballpark. We want to play on campus. And I think the postseason, the same was true. The Durham Bulls are at home this weekend anyway, so they couldn't host. But yeah, I do think it's a factor. And if you're in between a few teams, and it shouldn't be the factor, but if, say, you're dead even between, say, Duke and East Carolina, and you're looking at that kind of stuff, if you don't have anything else to differentiate and you're truly 50-50, it absolutely matters. So did it matter? I don't know. We weren't in the room. We don't know. But I do think, it was definitely in the committee's mind, and I feel like it has to be.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking to Jonathan Wagner on 3 Sports. He joins us here on the Patrick Johnson Show today. North Carolina is in a top 4 space, and you got to like their chances on paper to get through until you see that the NCAA committee is sending LSU, the defending champs. Now, I know there was talk LSU might not even make the SEC tournament just a few weeks ago. They've gotten it together, and I know you're coming to Greenville this weekend. I almost am sort of tempted to go people watch down on Franklin Street when the LSU crowd is there, because you talk about a contrast in styles. People from Louisiana, LSU fans in Chapel Hill. To me, it's that right there. That's the entertaining part right there. But sending LSU, and that is a pretty good region overall with the other teams in it. But sending LSU, gosh, that's pretty stout.
Yeah, that's going to be – it might be my favorite regional. And to me, I think the 3 and 4 seeds there are weak. But, just UNC and LSU alone is – I'm grabbing my popcorn. Even though I'll be in Greenville, I'm going to find a way to watch those games if I can. So, yeah, it'll be fun. And, I mean, we all know what LSU does, LSU fans. So, when they're in Omaha, they're breaking Jell-O shot records at whatever that bar is outside the stadium. So, man, they'll travel. It'll be a fun atmosphere for sure. And – LSU was a team that I think going into the last weekend of the regular season, they were out. And they got a sweep, and they went on a run in the SEC tournament, and they're in, and now they might be the scariest 2 seed in the tournament. But that'll be a fun one. I think it'll come down to one of those 2 teams, and I think either one of those 2 teams is capable of getting hot and going on a run.
Let me ask you about the Raleigh regional, and you've got State Bryant, who's someone that ECU fans are familiar with. You got South Carolina and JMU. Boy, what an athletic year for JMU with the football team and the basketball winning the conference tournament, making the NCAAs, and they make the baseball tournament. I mean, boy, that's another regional there. That might not jump out to a lot of people on paper, but NC State is going to have to play really, really well to get – everybody is, but I think the Wolfpack are going to have to play really, really well to advance out of that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of very few regionals in this tournament that I think all 4 teams could at least get to the regional final. I think a lot of them, there's a lot of week 4 seeds, and most of them you don't think that they can. Bryant, I'm not going to rule them out. They're not an elite baseball team in comparison, but they're a team that's certainly capable of stealing a game, especially if they are able to come out of the losers bracket and win a couple games from there. So you never know in postseason baseball. But South Carolina's been a little up and down. NC State's been a little up and down, but I do think on weekends NC State has been good for the most part, and I do think that if that NC State team is at its best, they're certainly capable of winning. I think they're capable of going to Omaha, and James Madison, they could make a run too. So they played some good teams tight this season. So it's one of my favorite regionals, honestly, just because, like I said, I do think there are 4 teams that could at least win a game or 2.
Yeah, I got you. We're here with Jonathan Wagner. I tell you what, I want to jump in on this, a couple other regions, and obviously we want to talk in depth about the Greenville region. Pilker, you ready for an update? Can we do that now?
Yeah,
and
I'm
Wags,
good to do that.
Before we even do that, Wags, can
okay.
you hold over? Yeah, can you hang through a break, Wags? Okay.
Yeah.
Jonathan Wagner with us here on 3. We're going to talk about the Greenville Regional next and get into more of this. We'll do it early break, and we'll go to Philip the Ref Pilkington with the 94.3 The Game Sports Update and Pirate Report. Pilk, take it away.
Thank you, P-Man. Starting in Pirate Athletics, the Pirates will be in town this weekend to host the Greenville Regionals. They got the number 16 overall seed. They will be hosting Wake Forest as the 2, VCU as the 3, and they will face Evansville as the 4. Trey Savage on what it means to host.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to spend my last season here with the regional in Greenville, North Carolina. And it's beyond exciting. Words can't describe the feeling that you feel when you run out on the field with all those people cheering for you, especially in your home park.
And if you don't have a ticket yet, you might not get one as it is sold out, but you can listen to it right here on 94.3 The Game at 12:45 for that just after 1 p.m. first pitch. Speaking of Pirates, a former Pirate has a new destination as forward Ezra Asar has transferred to Utah. And we'll take it over to the NFL, where the 49ers have re-signed wide receiver Juwan Jennings to a 2-year contract worth $10.5 million. They are still trying to re-sign their current number 2 option in the receiver room, Brandon Ayuk. Juwan Jennings has been the number 3 option the last handful of years. They drafted him back in 2020 with a 7th-round pick. And in college hoops, UConn's Alex Caravan had originally declared for the NBA draft, but the 6'9" forward wants to try and chase a 3rd straight title and will return to the Huskies for his junior season. In the NHL, it is Game 4 tonight of the Western Conference Finals as the Dallas Stars have a 2-1 lead in that series. They will be heading to Edmonton to take on Connor McDavid and the Oilers at 8:30. Handful of MLB games going on right now. The Pirates are up on the Tigers 7-2 in the top of the 7th. The Phillies are up 4-0 on San Francisco in the middle of the 6th. Phillies trying to snap a season-long 3-game win streak. Dodgers up 3-0 on the Mets right now, top of the 5. That game's being played at Citi Field. And the Marlins are on the road at Petco Park, beating the Padres right now 3-1 in the bottom of the 4th. That'll do it for 94.3 The Game Sports Flash Update and Pirate Report. On the other side of this timeout, we'll have more regional talk with On 3's Jonathan Wagner.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in color and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1222.
We have you covered with all the ECU news and beyond that you need for the drive home. The Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Okay, Jonathan Wagner on 3, joining us here on the Patrick Johnson Show. What's the toughest region?
Wow, there's a couple. I think the one that comes to mind to begin with is Stillwater. I think Oklahoma State, the one there, Nebraska is a pretty good too. And, like I said earlier, that Florida didn't deserve to get in, but Florida's there. They're 3, and now that they are there, they're a team with talent. Jack Caglione alone is capable of winning you games in regional. So I think there are probably 3 teams there that could win. And I think the Clemson one isn't easy either. Vanderbilt and Coastal Carolina, and Arizona as well. They have Dallas Baptist, who I think should have hosted. They have West Virginia, and they have Grand Canyon. That's another one of those where I could see all 4 of those teams winning. So those are the ones that stand out. And then I think ECU is a tough one, just with Wake Forest alone, UNC with LSU. So yeah, those are the ones that come to mind.
All right, we'll get into that here in a second, but I want to ask you, is there a top 8 that should be on upset alert?
Well, I want to say Florida State. And I look at the Tallahassee, and I'm going to pull it up here just to make sure I'm remembering it correctly. And they have Alabama, they have UCF, and they have Stetson. And Alabama, I think I wouldn't have been surprised if they were a 3 seed, but they still have a lot of talent. And UCF, another one, maybe a little bit questionable that they got in. They were one of the last teams in, but I do think that they've played well for a lot of the season. And then you have Stetson. And I think Stetson is the most likely 4 seed to advance. And Stetson they've done it on, and granted, they've done it on midweeks. They've played Florida State, Florida, a lot of those types of teams, and won some of those games throughout the season. So I think Stetson's a team that should not be slept on as a 4 seed. I think Stetson's going to make it to the regional final in that one. And I think I would probably pick all the top 8 seeds to advance. But if I was going to pick one, I think Florida State would be the one. And I think Clemson would probably be my second pick if I'm trying to pick one to be upset.
I got you. All right, let's get into the Greenville regional here. I still say, and I said this on the radio in Raleigh today, and I believe it, I think if you get anything that would resemble a 4 to 5 inning quality start out of Root, I think you get past Evansville, because I believe that's who they're going to start against the Aces if it's not been announced already. He'll correct me if I'm wrong, because that's, walking on the beach, wasn't studying. I wasn't sportsing hard enough, I guess. And then the other thing is, I think these are big ifs. I think with Savage, if he is sharp, whether it's VCU, whether the ability's there, it's just, will he have the stamina to do what they need him to do if he's the starter Saturday?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest question of the regional to me, because going into it, first of all, just Trey Savage against Chase Burns on Saturday, assuming ECU and Wake Forest both advance and that's who pitches, there's not a better matchup all of the postseason than that. And man, I will be glued to my seat. I will be there early that day because the emotion on that mound, the strikeouts on that mound is going to be crazy. But yeah, I do think, Chase Burns is probably going to go and give Wake Forest 7 innings, and he's going to run it up triple digits consistently. He's probably going to strike out 10 plus, 12 plus, and that's just what he does. And so, yeah, I do think it's a battle of, who wins that game is in the driver's seat. And you need Trey Savage to be Trey Savage. And, and again, I'm not there. I'm not in the room. I'm not a doctor by any means. But just watching him, in Clearwater or from the broadcast and see him celebrate after the Dixon walk-off steal of home and all that kind of stuff, it feels like Trey's good to go. And I think they've said Trey's good to go, and I believe them. And that's good because you need Trey. And I agree with you. I think Root should be able to give you a 4-5, hopefully. If that happens, you're in a good spot. But that Saturday night matchup, assuming it's ECU and Wake, I will be there no matter what.
And you're going to be there with our former intern, Casey. So you're the affable one, and he's the grump. He makes me look effervescent. Casey is such a grump. We love Casey, but he's a little bit of a grump. All right. We were talking jive on Casey earlier. Pilkington mainly was talking jive. All right.
Patrick started that.
Here's the thing about Wake Forest, and it's like all of a sudden I started it. Everybody forgot about, they were the preseason number one, and rightfully so. They've got great frontline pitching. A little questionable. They can hit the ball out of the park, up and down the lineup. Got a couple of really big boppers in particular. They can score runs. Injuries got them, didn't it? I mean, that's the reason they're a 2-seed, in a regional and not hosting a regional. And, now that they're healthy-ish, they're in pretty good shape, I'd have to imagine. I mean, they could be scary in this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're the favorite here for a reason. I think it's deserved. I do think they're that good. And that lineup, they're one of the best teams in the country in hitting home runs. And if you make mistakes, if you walk guys, if you make errors, they will hit it out of the ballpark and make you pay. And yeah, you're exactly right. Their frontline pitching is great. Chase Burns is going to be a top 15 draft pick right there with Trey Savage. And, after that, Josh Hartle coming in, preseason All-American, I believe, but he hasn't had quite the year, but I think he's pitched better as of late. And then you have Michael Massey, who's made 12 appearances. I think 10 of those have been starts. And I don't think he's at full health right now. I don't expect to see him go too much in terms of length. But still, those three guys alone, that's a great rotation. That's probably the best rotation 1 through 3 if they're all healthy. But I think they're a team that's similar to ECU. They have their top guys, and then it kind of drops off. And there are questions after that. So if it gets into a situation where you're in a Game 6, a Game 7 of a regional, then a lot of people think, I don't know if ECU can get past that. But I think Wake's in a similar spot. So I wouldn't rule anything out. But I do think that ECU and Wake are very similar ball clubs. But I think Wake Forest lineup is better. And they're going to hit a lot of balls out this weekend. That's just going to happen. It's probably going to happen against Savage. I think they're just that good. And it's going to happen against everyone. So they're a good team. They're legit, and they could definitely go on a run.
Let's get into their opponents. First for Wake, it's VCU. Scrappy. Now, they've got talent. Usually if you describe somebody as scrappy, they don't have any talent. They just play hard. This team has a little bit of talent, and they play hard.
Yeah. They were one of those teams, when you were trying to fill out, your automatic qualifiers, who's going to be a 3-seed. I think both VCU and Evansville jumped to the top of mine. RPI alone, I think they're back-to-back in 76, 77 in RPI. And, yeah, VCU, we didn't get to see them earlier this season. We were supposed to. It didn't work out. But, yeah, I think and I don't know their roster top to bottom, but I do think they have a good frontline pitcher. I think they have a couple guys in their bullpen. And if you don't take that team seriously, they can beat you, and they're not messing around. They're not going to be intimidated either.
Evansville, couple of tough outs, eerily similar numbers in some ways to ECU offensively. and they actually have more homers than the Pirates do this year.
Yeah, I think when you're comparing VCU and Evansville, just based on how good I think the teams are, I would put Evansville ahead as the 3. But yeah, that's a team, and it's not going to be an easy game on Friday for ECU. If it is Root pitching, then he needs to be good Root, and he needs to not walk guys, not let guys get on base because they can hit too, and they have some power in that lineup too. And pitching wise, I think they have a true freshman ace. I believe that's a true freshman. Correct me if I'm wrong, but again, they have a good bullpen guy. They have a couple good bullpen guys, and then it kind of drops off after that. But that's a team, again, offensively, they can make you pay. If you make mistakes and you're not your best, they can and they will beat you. So that's a team that scares me for sure. Friday will not be a cakewalk.
Pirates, let's face it, over the last couple of weeks, starting with the Tulane series, I mean, it was sort of up and down, and I get when Cliff Godwin says we were 6-2 in our last 8. 5 of the wins did come against Rice, and I mean, I still contend that was not a good team. So, I mean, that's a pretty lousy team, actually. So, wins are wins, I get it. But when you look at the Pirates offensively, what are your concerns right now?
Yeah, I think you need the top of the order to get going. I think in Clearwater, Ryan McChrystal was the guy that was probably your best hitter. And Jacob Jenkins-Cowart, he seemed to have gotten going a little bit. But as those two guys have kind of gotten hot again, it feels like Riley Johnson and Carter Cunningham have kind of cooled off. And especially against a team like Wake Forest, if that's the matchup, you need your entire top of the lineup to get going. And Dixon Williams has shown flashes. Justin Wilcoxon hit a couple long balls. And if all those guys are going at the same time, I really like this lineup. But if one or two of those guys aren't going, it feels like everything just kind of falls out of place. So, but I think it starts at the top. And Riley Johnson isn't 100%. He hasn't been all season. But I think it starts with him, and you need him getting on base, moving, putting pressure on defenses. And you need Carter Cunningham behind him to hit at the level that he did throughout the season, 400 type of hitter. And without those two guys, I don't think you can win a regional. So I really want to see those guys step up, and I'm confident that they will.
Wags, who gets out of the Greenville Regional?
Whew, put me on the spot here, but I have logged all my predictions. It's been published, it's been written, so I can't stray away. So I think that ECU will beat Evansville. I think Wake Forest will beat VCU. I think it'll be ECU and Wake Forest in the regional final. And I think that ECU will lose the first Wake Forest matchup, as in the Trey Savage versus Chase Burns matchup. I think Chase Burns will just outclass our lineup. But I do think ECU will win the game 6 to force a game 7 on Monday. But in the end, I hate to do it on here, but I trust Wake Forest lineup more. So I think I'm going to have to go with them, but I do think it's going to be a tight series. It's not going to be a blowout at all. So it'll be a fun one.
All right. Well, I'm away on an assignment this weekend, but if they play Monday, maybe I'll see you Monday. Are you staying around Monday? Have you taken Monday off already, Wags, or how are you making that work?
I'll be there. I will be in Greenville until this regional ends.
I do have one question, Wags. If we do get Trey against Chase Burns, what is the over-under on how many runs will be scored that are not via the home run ball? Because I think it might be like I think it'll be like 3-2 with 5 solo shots, and the first team to 3 would win.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think there's going to be some guys that their bats are going to run into a ball, and it's going to fly because it does in Clark Clare. But, yeah, low scoring for sure.
Yeah, I think I think you could see something like you saw in the Super a few years ago in Vanderbilt, where, I mean, both guys are just excellent, and it's just whoever maybe catches a little break offensively. That could be 1-0 if you think about it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, so it'll be great baseball this weekend. As Pilk told you in the update, we'll have it for you beginning at 12:45 Friday as the Pirates start off against Evansville on 94.3 The Game right here. All right, Wags, thanks a lot, man. We'll catch up with you next week, depending on how this thing shakes out, if we can do that. I think that'd be great to get you back on.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me on, and go Pirates.
All right, there he is. great American and a great pirate, the great Jonathan Wagner, with us here. Good fella. I like having Wags on. He knows his stuff, Pilk.
He
He
does.
knows his stuff.
He does. I'll tell you.
He's all over it. He's
You
passionate about
want to
it.
be.
I really
You want
like
your
it.
IQ to go up. And when it comes to college baseball, you have lunch with Wags. And it's not like he's some know-it-all that's like telling you facts. It's like you just start having this conversation, and every point he makes is very intelligent.
I would pepper him with a lot of questions, undoubtedly. All right. We're going to break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to have a wrap on the show. Is Clark a crybaby? And maybe some audio, which we've been waiting to get to now for days. Coming up next.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport. Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
When a place is as special as this, you don't want to change a thing. You simply want to enjoy it, just as it is. That was our inspiration behind Bow Coast West, our newest community in Beaufort, North Carolina. Embrace all that we love about this very special place, and make it easy for families to enjoy all that this coastal lifestyle has to offer. Be inspired. Bow Coast West.
Let's go! Woo! Woo! Yeah! Football time!
Set the tone. Kyle, take your shoes, take your shoes. Yeah, good job.
Grab a Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you farm to fork beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to fork beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
And now,
the stunning conclusion of the show. It's the P-Man here on 94.3 The Game.
Teed up last night, Bill. I watched some of that game. Now, they tell you all of these games are on national television, and they're not lying. I mean, they are, but it's like the local broadcast on NBA TV, which NBA TV is apt to do a lot, which is fine because, I mean, it's, again, distributed nationally. She got popped for a technical for griping at the official near the end of the first, but, you know, you and I were talking about it before. She's getting physically beat. I didn't realize the WNBA, I didn't realize it was that physical of a league. They let them beat the hell out of each other in that thing.
They do. LeBron would never survive. But
LeBron's not tough enough to play in the WNBA.
No,
Beijing is nowhere near tough enough to play in the WNBA.
Yeah, watching the WNBA is like watching the 1984 NBA Finals all over again. where McHale punched who was it? Went up for a layup. McHale punched him in the face.
Kurt Rambis.
Yeah, I mean that's what happens. I mean, Caitlin gets punched. I've seen a lot of the videos on Twitter.
It's knocked in the head.
Yeah.
Routinely.
I tuned in last night. The tech had not been given yet. I was between innings of the Red Sox game, but it was where she took the three and the girl closed out, tripped her, caused her to roll her ankle, and they gave her a flagrant foul. I don't think it was totally intentional, but with it being Clark, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt that it may have been a little intentional because, I mean, players are speaking out, pretty much saying they hate her. I mean, they're not just showing it on the court. I mean, they're talking about how much they don't like her in press conferences. She's played like 5 games or something or another. I don't know.
It's a lot. It really is. Hey, do you have the audio from yesterday? Or actually from 2 days ago that we've never gotten to yet?
Yeah.
I wanted to play. I don't see it on here, but I'm sure you have it, so I'll try to set it up as best I can. One of the great stories was Danny Beal talking. I asked Danny Beal, what were you doing because he was on the mound in the 8th. I asked him what was he doing when, I think the 9th too, wasn't he, Pilk? And I asked him what was he doing, or how did he react? Where was he? His perspective when Dixon Williams stole home. This is a great story. This is what he had to say. Danny Beal.
It was actually kind of funny. So I got brought in the 8th. And so I was standing at the end of the dugout, as most pitchers do, trying to focus on, keeping your mind right if we had tied it, and we tied it. So I went back down in Clearwater. The dugouts have a little tunnel because it's like a pro park. Obviously, it's where the Phillies play. And so I was warming up, and I saw Dixon at third. So I was like, all right, well, we have a chance to walk it off. But I was just trying to get my mind right to go back out there. And then all of a sudden, I hear everybody cheering, and I'm like, what the hell happened? So I go up into the dugout, and everybody's like punching Dixon up against the net, and I'm like, what? I'm literally asking the coaches, I'm like, what just happened? And they're like, we just stole home. I was like, what? And so I came up and hugged Coach Palumbo, and I was like, dude, that's nuts. It was awesome. But it's one of those, I mean, I saw it all over MLB, ESPN, so I was like, it's one of those things that you don't really get to see it very often.
Beal is one of those guys you talked about, like having lunch with Wags. Like you could go and have lunch with Beal or dinner or a couple pops if he's so inclined, and I mean, he'd be just a fun guy to hang out with. Just a great guy to hang out with. Really would.
I think you would. I have not gotten to know Danny as well as I have some of the other players, but when I'm around him, he's great.
He is awesome. What little bit I've gotten to know him, he's very down to earth, very congenial, remembers you, that kind of thing. So he's going to be an ace, whatever he do. He somewhere on an ESPN Plus. I'm not trying to kick Mully out of the booth, but even if he didn't stay around North Carolina and went, or even if he did and went somewhere, you'd be wise to put Beal in a booth for ESPN Plus broadcast of your school or a conference, because he'd be great.
Oh, I agree. He's personable. He's funny. He knows when to be funny, when to be serious.
Yeah. Great. But how cool is that story? That's just a fun story, isn't it?
That is. And you could picture it, right? Like, as he's sitting there telling it, and he paints the picture so well. You picture him down there, because we've all seen those tunnels, even if we've never played in a major league ballpark. We know how they do. And you can see a guy down there getting loose. Sometimes they'll throw weighted balls against the wall, and all of a sudden people start going nuts. And you can just see Danny going, what the heck? And running up, and what happened? What happened?
Yeah.
Like a cartoon.
Something happened. Right. Because there was nobody there. So he knew something happened because there was a big explosion of people.
Well, I heard there was the crazy thing is that we were talking to Carter, and he said that it was actually so loud when Dixon stole, no one could yell to the pitcher or the catcher, there he goes. He said that when Packard was standing behind him at first. The fans were actually loud.
Noise.
Yeah.
But
So there were some people there.
It wasn't like there were like 5,000 or 7,000 people in the 10,000 seat park. It wasn't like that kind of roar, is what I mean. I mean, there were ECU fans there that weren't kicked out, but they were there. Was that a shot? That was a shot, wasn't it? I think
this conference deserves it. I mean, taking people's signs that had no profanity on it just said Free Cliff. I mean, could you imagine if the PGA Tour would have told people not to wear Free Scotty shirts? Hey, Scotty got his charges dropped today, though.
I was going to say, what happened with that? That would seem to was going to be the indication. What happened exactly with that today?
I don't know. I just saw on Twitter that all the charges have been dropped. The police officer got fired because he lied.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah. I mean, you've seen the video. He did not get drug.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
so they fired him last week, and now Scotty, all the charges are dropped, which, I mean, it's good. I mean, like, the guy clearly reached into his car and unlocked it himself and drug him out.
There were a lot of people getting on social media trying to drag Scheffler, pardon the pun, but, privilege, what a this, what a that for asking the guy to – I mean, Scheffler seems like a decent stand-up guy. Like, he won the Masters, and he went and bought lawn equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't go buy a. I'm sure they're not. I'm sure they're not struggling on the mortgage. But
No.
I mean, it wasn't like he went and bought like a second or third home or a Hummer or whatever the car du jour is, or a boat. I mean, he went and bought lawn equipment so he could work around his lawn from like the Home Depot or something. I mean, the guy, and this was the first Masters he won. The guy's an absolute ace of a human, and it just sounded like what he was doing was very out of character, what he was described as doing.
Yeah.
And the video, I mean, thank God for that video.
Hey, the eye in the sky never lies.
That is very true. Very true. Thanks to Jonathan Wagner for being with us today. We'll be back tomorrow with more of the Patrick Johnson Show for you. In the morning on Talk of the Town. See you then at 7 o'clock. Hilk will be in with the TOT crew tomorrow out on the road.
Yeah, it's 7 o'clock. Lucky you.
Yeah, I'll be there right before. And from here. And then tomorrow, 5 o'clock, Patrick Johnson Show. We'll get Mike Mullis. We'll maybe have some other folks on. Looking forward to it. We will hear from Pirate Players and Cliff tomorrow, we hope.